Do you find yourself constantly feeding on Lucio? Do you feel lost in high-intensity teamfights and don't know what to do in the heat of the moment? Do you feel like you often don't have an impact over the outcome of your games and you're stuck at the same rank, constantly 50-50ing, or even worse, going on long loss streaks? If so, then you've come to the right place. Welcome to my 2025 Lucio guide for how to play Lucio in Season 18 of Overwatch. So just a little bit about myself. I am a GM Lucio main. I've played Overwatch since 2017. I've scrimmed for over half a year with a team, and I'm also currently coaching another team as well. And in this guide, I'm going to be covering the micro, which is the mechanical aspect, and also the macro, which is the gamesense aspect of Lucio. And it's going to be intended for players of all ranks, no matter whether you're hard stuck bronze or you're close to GM, like you're in High Masters, right? You will all have some pretty good takeaways from this video. Okay, so let me quickly go over Lucio's ability kit. His gun does 22 damage per shot, fires in a 4-round burst, and has 20 bullets per mag. He can also headshot. His crossfade is a speed or heal aura. You can swap this at will. It heals allies for 20 healing per second and is slightly reduced for yourself at 14 healing per second. His amp amplifies the effects of his crossfade aura, so it bumps up the healing to 65 healing per second on allies, and on speed gives him a 60% move speed bonus, up from 25% default. His boop knocks enemies back in the direction he is looking, and is a 4-second cooldown ability that does 45 damage. His ultimate gives everybody in range, in sight, 750 temp HP. That quickly decays. It is LOS based, but crucially has a grace period after casting, where you can peek teammates and they'll still get the HP. And this allows you to safely be behind cover and hide from dangerous ultimates like EMP and Overclock. Lastly, for wall riding, this allows him to cling to walls and ride them for a little bit of an extra movement speed bonus. You can chain wall rides like so to get you from place to place faster. Now let's talk about Lucio's perks. Beat Drop allows Amp to be active during Sound Barrier, which is your ultimate, so as long as you cast Beat, you'll have Amp for the entire duration of it. Soundwave Rider allows wall riding to empower your next boop, which buffs its damage and its knockback. In the past, you would always take Beat Drop because what this allowed you to do was Amp before Beat, then you'll Beat, and Amp will be active for the duration of Beat as well. And after Beat ends, you'll almost be back to another amp. So having 3 amps in a row is incredibly powerful, no matter what team comp you're playing into and with. Now, the other perk actually recently got a buff this season, which also gave it a damage buff. And this is actually really crucial because it buffs your boop damage up to 68 damage, and your boop melee, for reference, does more than a Reinhardt swing. So you're going to be charging it up through wall riding, and the nice thing is that the charge actually lingers when you tap walls, which encourages good movement, right? So you're not motivated to wall ride for a really long period of time. So just to show you guys, that is how much a boot melee does, and it does almost half of the HP bar on a standard 250 HP character, and almost one-shot tracer as long as you hit an M1 along with it. So personally, I've been taking the boot buff a lot in rank because I'm having a lot of fun with it. The extra damage and knockback bonus is really nice to have, especially against dive. However, having 3 amps in a row during beat is still really, really strong. So at the end of the day, it's up to you which one you want to take. If you wanted to argue definitively which one was better, I'd say it's a bit matchup dependent. For example, against and with Brawl, you probably want 3 amps in a row. And against Dive, the boot perk is better just for the extra knockback and damage for peel. But either are fine. Lucio's first perks are really up to personal choice. Okay, now let's talk about Lucio's major perks. So, Noise Violation allows Crossfade's range to be increased by 150% while you're using Amp. And Accelerando increases your attack speed during Amp as well. So both perks work with Amp. Usually, you want to take the Noise Violation perk because your crossfade range almost triples when you use Amp. And it's really good for farming beat all charge and just hitting more allies and giving you more uptime. So you can see all of those bots are receiving Amp. And it's really, really useful because as long as you're in the general area of a team fight, most of your allies will receive your amp benefits, and you'll farm beat really, really fast with heal amp. However, in certain matchups, you can use Accelerando as well, just because the attack speed increase is so good. So for example, against a Hog, if you take Accelerando, you'll be doing a ton of damage. Some other characters like Malga and maybe like Orisa or Ram also work really well, because you can just shoot really, really fast. And unlike a lot of other heroes, every single Lucio perk is usable, and Lucio doesn't have any must-take or useless perks. So at the end of the day, it's really up to you which perks you want to take. If you want to go for a full damage build with Accelerando and boot buff, go for it. If you want to go for a more team play oriented build with amp during beat and the range, it's up to you as well. But personally, my loadout for this season at least is the wall running perk and the crossfade range perk. So now that we know what Lucio's kit is, I'm going to be talking about what you want to be doing, or what you want to be learning rather, mechanically with this hero. And we're starting off with movement, one of the most important aspects about playing Lucio. And I'm not going to be going too in-depth with my guide, because I think other creators have a bunch of wonderful videos on Lucio movement that I won't be able to recreate. And me personally, I learned movement just through playing him in ranked a bunch. But I will be talking about some of the more simple things you could learn on this hero as well, and the most important things. So first of all, you absolutely need, on Lucio at least, to bind jump to scroll wheel. So jump over here, I have it on scroll down, you can have it on scroll up, whatever works for you. But the reason why you want to do this is because this allows you to wall skim, which means you're tapping a wall and immediately getting off. And that is the most optimal way of building momentum. And along with wall skimming, binding it to scroll wheel also allows you to b-hop, which is where you jump immediately when you touch the ground. And you can see the reason why you b-hop is because if you're building a lot of momentum off of walls, right, and then you touch the ground, you immediately lose all your momentum. Whereas if you're b-hopping, you can see I'm still really fast even though I touched the ground a couple times. And it allows you to chain wall skims and b-hops and be really, really fast even if you are messing up and touching the ground every now and then with your wall. And it's also useful for rollouts where you're chaining wall skimming with b-hops, and it makes you harder to hit in a team fight. One more thing about wall running is that where you look also matters a lot. So if you're looking up, you're going to be getting a lot more height, right? So like this, and it's useful for climbing up to roofs, for example, or getting onto high ground, right? However, if you look down, you'll gain less speed and you won't go as high. So, down, right? I'm not going as far, I'm not going as fast. And it'll allow you to go through doorways sometimes. So, looking up, right? Gaining height, and looking down. So next, let's talk about how you min-max your uptime and damage as Lucio mechanically. So you have to be very, very familiar with your gun, because your character actually does a lot of damage. So first of all, let me start off with some useful combos. For really quick burst damage, you can do shoot and then boot melee at the end of it. So boot melee in general is a really good combo you should be abusing a lot, because as long as you're in melee range, your boot melee will hit. Even though you're knocking them away, the melee for whatever reason still connects. So boot melee is a really quick combo that does 85 damage, and it does even more if you have the damage buff as well. So a really quick combo you can do is tag that on the end of an M1 burst. So just do boot melee for a really quick burst of damage. It one-shots 250 HP if you actually hit the headshots of your M1. But even if you don't, that's fine. It's an insane amount of burst damage as well. But a longer extended combo as well is shoot boot melee, and that'll also one-shot 250. But yeah, if you're looking to do really quick burst damage, then shoot boot melee, right? If you're doing an extended longer chain for more sustained damage, then shoot melee. And you have to make sure you're able to hit shots on Lucio, so what you can do to practice that is go into a custom game and load up the aim trainer. So the best code and all of that for Overwatch, regardless of what hero you're on, is going to be VAXTA, so VAXTA is the code, like so. And then you can start the game mode, pick your hero, so we're going to be picking Lucio here. And just making sure we're very, very comfortable with using his gun and hitting the follow-up shots after we hit him. So this, just practice your aim, making sure we're able to hit shots, combos. So shoot boop, shoot melee is a really good one. Right, just making sure we're able to hit our shots on Lucio because it will help us take duels, which we will be doing quite often on this hero. And being able to do a bunch of damage. You should, at the end of every single game, aim to be having around 5 to 6k damage per 10. If it's not there yet, sorry, don't worry about it. We'll be getting there, but making sure we're able to do as much damage as we can, and maxing our uptime on this character is really important for winning games. You will win more if you do more damage on Lucio. I'm not encouraging you to go for a full Reddit playstyle, but knowing how to use your character well with your gun is always really useful. So now that we know how to use our character's kit well, let's talk about macro and how we actually want to apply that in-game. So starting off with ability usage, let's start off with cross raid. It's very, very simple. We don't need to overcomplicate it. If our team need to get somewhere, then we go on speed. If our team doesn't need to go somewhere, and we're taking poke and trading resources, then you stay on heal. Things that need speed are things like coming back from spawn, or if you're taxing teammates, that's where you go back to spawn to pick up teammates that died after you win a team fight, so they can get back before the next team fight starts. When your team is rotating, for example, if you're on Lijiang Tower and you want to go through White Room on Gardens instead of going Bridge, that's where you would be speeding your team. Hiding enemy ultimates or enemy engages would be a really good speed use case. And also engaging yourself, or when you're collapsing on a target, is also a good time to be using speed. And on terms of amp, in ranked, I find myself defaulting to amping heals a lot, because in ranked, there's going to be a lot less coordination, so you don't actually need to use speed as much. But things that do need speed are things like kiting again, right? You want to amp speed to kite enemy ultimates like Rush that you don't want to play into, or to help your team engage or collapse. If you have a watcher that's using form, that's when we want to amp speed, so we can actually chase things and kill things. Next, we have Boop. It's a very, very spammable cooldown, and it does really, really good. It does a really good job at disrupting. So you want to be using this to peel dives, right? It's good extra burst damage. It throws off opponents in duels. You can mess up their aim like that. And my favorite, everybody's favorite actually, going for boop kills. And it's really, really, really useful for peeling dive tanks. So you can boop Monkey's jump, right? You can even kite blade as well. You can dodge Queen's blade with boop, right? It's really, really useful. And it knocks certain heroes out of their effective range, like Reaper and Queen, into your own. You can still shoot at them. And like I said earlier, boop melee is a really good burst combo as well. Lastly, with your ultimate, it is commonly used to counter enemy ult engages, like Genji's blade or Queen's ult if you don't have a carry to Suzu it. Enemy Sojourn's overclock, right? A lot of other things. But you're always looking to get more value than just surviving. And what I mean by that is, a lot of the times the enemy is looking to commit into you with ultimates, and with Beat, with your large HP pool, you want to actually get kills with that instead of just living the engage. So let's say Kiri rushes and everybody's playing in the rush, everybody's using cooldowns and whatnot, then you beat, and then you kill somebody because they're overextended in the middle of your team, right? Because they thought they had a free fight win with rush, and then we punish that with beat, and then we can look to kill maybe their Sojourn or something, if they committed like boom mid cooldowns. So you want to have a target in mind when you use beat, and you want to basically just ape that target with your extra HP. So let's go over what your responsibilities as Lucio look like. You are really good at peeling dives and disrupting dive tanks. So if you have a really vulnerable support backline, or another support duo like a Baptiste or an Ana, and they have a dive heavy comp, you're responsible for helping your Ana or Bap live. You're also really good at enabling your DPS. So characters like Genji and Tracer, you can go with them on flanks and take off angles with them and apply pressure through just helping their angle. Another one of your responsibilities is also to mark enemy flankers as well. And what marking means is just you're shooting them to make it harder for them to do your job, so they don't have a free time, or they don't have free shots into your backline and get free kills through that. So things like an enemy Genji, an enemy Tracer, you're responsible for pretty much disabling them and matching wherever they go so that they can't freely walk into your backline and look for kills that way. And You're also providing speed amp when you're playing Brawl and Rush comps as well. That's also one of your jobs. So if you're playing with a Queen, an Orisa, a Ram, or a Hazard, you're looking to amp speed when we're looking to dive onto targets. So just as a final note, just some tips to rank up in general. Just play the game more. Make sure you're always self-VOD reviewing, just to look at how we can minimize deaths that were caused by bad positioning. Make sure you're frequently taking breaks as well when you're on long sessions, especially when you're lost streaking. Having a support duo is also really helpful if they play heroes like Ana, Bat, and Kiri, because if you're trying to learn Lucio and your random support picks Mercy, Brig, or Life Weaver or something like that, it just makes it 10 times harder for you to play the game. Make sure you're always trying and focusing on your own mistakes, even if you think you weren't the reason you lost. And calming is also really helpful on a hero like Lucio. You can communicate when you're amping, especially if you're amping speed, and you can help track what ultimates the enemy have, and you can do a little bit of fight planning by yourself. Thank you for watching my guide, and I wish you all the best in your ranked endeavors.